Hello everyone, we are Nerds in a Box. I'm John Dwyer.
I'm Dan Kiefer.
Tessa Barlotta.
And we're here presenting our 11th episode.
11.
Yeah.
Lucky number.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Or is it 13?
I'm pretty sure
11.
it's 11.
I think it's 11.
It's
I always
11.
get those two mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it unlucky number 13?
It's unlucky number 13.
See, there we go. There's my problem.
Yeah.
I think
Sorry.
we're just trying to give you a bad name right now.
Oh, good. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Alright, so...
Sorry, John.
I'm going to explain what's happening. This is our Halloween costume.
Woo!
Hello!
Hi.
To our
Hi!
belated Halloween episode.
Yes.
So,
Slightly.
Slightly.
A little bit.
Yes, this is what happens
It's
when
my favorite part of
my
tonight.
hair goes
Yep.
away on my face.
Mm.
So sad.
So, Tessa drew a beard on my face. So,
Oh yeah, for those of you who are listening via SoundCloud, check out our video just this once especially.
Yeah.
Because, well, we're all dressed up as each other. And
Yep.
I actually had to shave half my beard. It was quite depressing.
He was
But
very
it'll
sick.
okay. It'll actually start to come back by next week, so don't worry.
next week it'll grow back within 2 days.
I'm just saying for the next episode it'll be back.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Oh.
You can go on, John.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
That's gonna bother the heck.
Take it
Can
from
we
here.
can we not do that for the entire episode?
I mean, I'm fine either way. If you don't want to do that, then we can totally.
I just know you're gonna be like, go ahead, Dan, and then like John's gonna start answering. I'll be like, oh, ooh, wait, not me. Okay.
Yep.
Alright, Tessa, we'll switch up the program.
Oh no.
Okay. So anyway, today is about... I would do a drum roll, but I can't because I'm not in it right now. Marvel Phase 3!
Woo!
So Marvel pretty much released all their films up to like the
2019.
beginning of 2019.
Mhm.
May 4th? May 3rd, 2019.
Yeah, they did come up with their nice little like what was it like June? No, it's May, June, November, or July. May, July, November.
Yeah,
May, July,
pretty much.
November.
So we're gonna have like solid years of Marvel to come, which
beautiful.
is crazy.
Three
crazy
movies,
awesome.
basically. 3 movies a year.
Yeah,
May,
when they
July,
promised
November,
us
yeah.
2.
Yeah.
They promised us 2 a year, now we're getting 3, so...
Now we're getting 3 for
I mean,
2017 and
plus
2018.
Netflix, plus Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And then you got the DC things on top of that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Well,
man.
This was definitely a really good retort to DC's like, here's our slate. Marvel's like, okay, here's ours. And everybody freaked out. Don't get me wrong, everybody was excited about the DC one. But because Marvel has this long-standing, like, for lack of a better word, this long-standing relationship with us and their movies, we understand that these are quality movies. We understand what we're supposed to be looking forward to. This is DC's yet another attempt at making a Justice League movie. I feel like they've put themselves so far that they can't back out now, which makes me nervous about the upcoming movies. Because I'm like, if it's bad, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also... It's like you said, like we know that they're going to be at least okay, if not fantastic, because the product that Marvel has put out has proven that. So, like, whereas with DC, we've gotten back and forth so much that we're like,
Yeah. I mean, they're still trying to find their ground.
Yeah.
And so I think that Marvel also made a huge press conference out of it. Like, it was
yeah.
huge. DC announced theirs, but Marvel had Robert Downey Jr., they had Chris Evans, and they had Chadwick Boseman, the new Black Panther, there at the conference. So it was a huge way to kick off Phase 3. And it's exciting. It's an exciting time, even if you're just a comic book fan in general, because they have a lot of movies coming. And it was funny because when DC released their slate, you know, people were excited about Cyclops, people were excited about Wonder Woman, but it seemed like a lot of the comments were like, alright, cool, why can't you do this, Marvel? It wasn't like, yeah, way to go, DC. It was like, Marvel, why is DC doing this and you're not? And so Marvel is like, alright, here we go, we have Black Panther, we have a person of color movie, and then we have a female-led movie with Captain Marvel. It is the Carol Danvers Captain Marvel, I should say.
They're skipping Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
they're skipping Miss Marvel. It's going to be awesome. The top 2 candidates I've heard that everybody wants is Katie Sackhoff, and then Yvonne Strahovski. And then a close third is actually Emily Blunt.
Really?
Yep.
I've not heard that one.
she'd be so great though.
She'd be good.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. I'm still pushing for Yvonne Strahovski for obvious
Well,
reasons.
you guys have Chuck bias.
Yeah.
Yes,
we have
yes,
Chuck
we do.
bias.
We have very strong Chuck bias.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so currently, Marvel Phase 3, we have Ant-Man with Paul Rudd and
Michael Douglas.
that one. And that's November?
That is, I believe it's November, yeah.
Of next year.
Yes, that's after the upcoming Avengers: Age of Ultron.
So Paul Rudd has
The floor.
has to start off Phase 3. So good luck to him, especially after all that back and forth director nightmare.
I feel like that's going to be the big bump in the road that Marvel faces.
Oh, excuse me. Ant-Man is actually coming out July 17th.
That's right, they bumped it up.
Yep. So,
even with all the bumps in the road, they're like, you know, we can do this earlier.
They have not pushed it back yet, so...
Well, I know, like, Paul Rudd is friends with the new director, too, so they went over a lot of stuff and was like, we're okay? We're okay. Alright. So...
I feel like it'll be okay. I'm still nervous about it, but we'll see what happens, because it's interesting to note that right now there's no Ant-Man 2. Granted, it's coming out next year, but, you know, we'll see what happens. But no Ant-Man 2 just yet.
And I feel like as we go along, there's going to be less 2, 3, 4 films. Because
I can see that.
They're not, like, the main characters. And also, like, as we keep introducing everybody else's favorites into this universe, there's just going to be not enough room. Like, it's just going to be complete deluge overload. So instead of doing that, they'll have, like, kind of what they did with Captain America 2, where we didn't get a Black Widow movie, but Black Widow was a humongous part. Also, Falcon was a great part of that, too. So we won't necessarily get their own movies in 2 and 3 and whatever.
But, like, what you're saying is, like, in the Black Panther movie, maybe you'll get, like, Doctor Strange in it for some reason.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Like, so we'll have, like, people to support back and forth so that we still get our favorite characters without Marvel having to, like, run itself ragged and start making less than great movies.
Yeah, well, the big news is that Black Panther, not only was he cast, he's going to have a huge part in Captain America 3, Civil War, which they officially announced they're doing the Civil War storyline. They originally teased it as Serpent Society, but that was just that was a misdirection. Yeah. So it's officially Civil War. According to Kevin Feige in the press conference afterwards, it's global registration is going to be the main thing, the main theme of it, and there's going to be a specific citing incident for it. But he also said it's going to be very different from the comics because, in case you didn't know, secret identities in the Marvel Cinematic Universe don't really matter.
Because everybody kind of knows who everybody is, at least in, like, the superhero world.
Everybody knows who Iron Man is.
Yeah, and who Steve Rogers is.
Yeah, exactly. So
like, it's just, there's no point. It's more like who's reporting to who, and, like, I'm sure it's going to be, like, bad information or... Like, what happened with S.H.I.E.L.D., like, people get hurt because of the way things were done.
Yeah, it's more work for the government or you're a vigilante and we need to get you.
Yeah, so...
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, and also, if you don't know who Chadwick Boseman is, go watch 42, which is the movie about Jackie Robinson, or he was in the James Brown... He was James Brown in that new movie that I'm not remembering what the name is. But, I saw 42 and he's... brilliant and amazing, and I've heard the James Brown movie is fantastic. So
get on up.
Get on up.
Yep.
It's great. Go watch it.
So do we want to go movie by movie?
Yes.
All right.
Let us go.
So first one is Ant-Man, right?
Yes.
Sorry, I'm taking over your job, John.
No, it's okay. It's okay, Dan, but you need to calm down.
All right, sorry.
Down. But yeah, so like Ant-Man, Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, we're excited. It's awesome.
The Scott Lang version.
Yes.
Yeah, Scott Lang.
Because Hank Pym has jerk problems.
It seems like they're gonna make it a, I don't want to say like a buddy movie, but it seems like they're going to have Scott Lang and Hank Pym team up.
Well, it's supposed to be a heist movie, which is great because Scott Lang, the reason why he gets caught is because he steals Ant-Man's uniform to go steal money for his daughter. Yeah,
which I'm super excited about, and I'm I feel like Marvel's trying to branch out into different genres of movies instead of just like, here's a superhero movie. Like, they're doing that. Cap 2 was a political thriller. Turned into a political movie, and they're trying to do like some kind of heist movie with Ant-Man. That could be really cool.
Oh, yeah. Like, if we introduce Cassie, that also opens up, like, Stature and the Young Avengers, like, way down the road, like, phase 4 or 5 or whatever the heck. But that also does open up that kind of realm, which would be awesome, because if you've ever read Young Avengers, they're super amazing.
Ooh, real quick, it is worth noting that, completely unrelated, the Runaways, Kevin Feige said that there is a script, but it's still a long ways off, and they don't know if that's going to be a TV show or a movie.
I really hope they do like a Netflix series.
It would be a good Netflix series or TV show in general.
Yep. So, real quick, just wanted to say that.
Because also just too kind of offbeat for a movie.
Yeah. I was following the live blog, of it. So, like, I was texting you sitting at my computer while the live blog was going off at this event.
Really?
Yeah, and I was texting. I was like, Captain Marvel confirmed Carol Danvers. You know, like, and you like didn't even bother to like spell correctly. You're like, what is life?
No, I was dressing purple dinosaurs at Universal and was just like just in between.
Yep.
So yes, it was great. So yes, Ant-Man's gonna be awesome. Cap 3, Civil War. Wow.
There's just gonna be so much depth in that.
So much depth.
I trust them. I trust them to do
yeah.
this, especially if they're not making it like how it is in the comic books necessarily, because the whole thing with the comic books is that there's a lot of superheroes, and if they're doing it on a smaller scale in that sense, I think it'll work a lot better.
Yeah, and it's also, Cap's kind of written like a jerk too in that one, so if they fix that, I'll be much happier.
And I mean, the cool thing is they've already, like, as much as the Civil War really pronounces all of their superheroes, they've already, like, shown a whole bunch of superheroes. Who knows if they're going to be, like, doing, like, if they've cast other characters, like, if they've already cast Doctor Strange, if they've already cast Captain Marvel, if they've already cast these, like, super...
Yeah, I already did cast Doctor Strange.
Right.
Yeah.
But, like, these super, like, C-list characters as well, have them, like, in as cameos being, like, these are superheroes in this. Because, like, if they're C-list, people don't necessarily care if they get the real movie.
Yeah.
Like, if they had Civil War and, like, Cloak and Dagger were in it, I would freak out. People would be like, oh, look, superheroes that need to register. And I'd be like, ah!
Which I hope that's what they do. I hope it's just, like, little tidbits all over the place. But
Wicked
also,
would be cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
I hope they did cast them.
I want Wicked and Hulkling everywhere.
Yep.
But,
A whole bunch of superheroes that they could do. Just minute cameos. I'd prefer like a little bit bigger than what they did in Winter Soldier with just the name drops, but even that was still big.
That was still great. People freaked out.
Yeah.
And also you have your entire Marvel Universe. You have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to introduce all other kinds of people that this could affect. And if Cap 2 was any insinuation, Civil War could spill over into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the biggest way. And it would be great. And I love that we're
Hopefully
using...
if it's still on.
Yeah. Please watch. It's actually really, really good right now.
I mean, that's not too far off. That's what,
2016.
years? Yeah, I think Agents could last 2 more years.
I hope so.
Well, don't say
I really
anything.
do. But I'm never going to say anything after, like, you know,
Oh,
Firefly and Dollhouse and all that. It's not on Fox, but my heart is still broken.
True.
But I also love that they have enough faith in Captain America movies that they're like, the Cap movies are where we're going to destroy the entire reality of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Cap, he cannot catch a break.
No.
In the middle of searching, that's also, where is the search for Bucky going to fit into all of this?
Right?
Well, that's a really good point.
Like,
that's a good question.
Does he start searching out for Bucky and then, like, crap goes down back home and he has to go back and... mess of awful.
Or does Bucky find him? Because Bucky is at the he's at the museum exhibit at the end of Cap 2, so maybe Bucky finds him. So
what if Bucky's in Buxy? What if Bucky is in Avengers?
I hope they sneak him in somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like near the end?
Or like at least we see him at the beginning, like leaving traces that Steve is like, because I'm sure Steve is still looking for him at the beginning of Avengers when they corral him up.
He's signed on for 9 movies.
So I'm sure he's somewhere. Oh yeah.
Wait, 9 more movies or 9?
No, 9 from the beginning.
Total.
Like starting with first Avengers, he signed on for 9.
But Dan, he's been in 2.
So he
still has 7 among all of these other movies.
Yeah.
So
alright, so there's that, and then there's Doctor Strange, which is now officially Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm excited just to hear him say spells in that beautiful voice of his.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that alone would be terrifying.
And
like, if you hear him, like, curse you, just...
Okay. And he has the eyes, too, like, because Doctor Strange is very internal. Very, I don't want to say brooding.
But he's just kind of, like, stoic on the outside, but on the inside, like, his brain is raging.
And especially with Sherlock, like... What Benedict Cumberbatch did with Sherlock, you can see the gears grinding in his head whenever anything happens. And that's very similar to what he has to do as the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, definitely. So, that's really all we know about it right now.
Yep.
They haven't really cast anybody else as far as we know for that movie.
Nope.
And they have so many different ways they can go. I don't know how it's going to tie in to everything, because Doctor Strange is one of those characters that's always been good at keeping to himself.
Yeah, I mean, I have Akamoto, if that's going to be in an Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's... there's your tie-in right there.
They'd have to, I think,
Because
actually.
Guardians of the Galaxy doesn't have one yet. I mean, right now all it is the Infinity Stone. So, and Thanos, kind of. But...
yeah, it'd have to be something about an Infinity Stone to tie it into Infinity War.
Yep.
When that happens.
And there's a couple more episodes. Wow, this is basically how I view the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now.
It's just 2-hour-long episodes.
Well, that's what's great about it. It's such an episodic series because they're all so tied in together. We've had the best comparison that we can come up with this is Harry Potter.
True.
It's the only show that's ever had so many movies attached in one fluid storyline. I mean, yes, you could kind of stretch it into Star Wars, how they had Clone Wars.
Lord of the Rings can also fall in that category.
I would struggle with Lord of the Rings more simply because they really set it as Lord of the Rings and then The Hobbit.
Yeah, it is kind of two. I mean, they're connected, but it is still two separate worlds, two separate fields. Whereas Star Wars tried to be both.
It felt like the two separate fields, but they even said episodes 1 through 6. That's the only reason it's kind of different. You know what I mean, John?
Yeah, I do.
John Dan.
Dan.
John.
Tessa.
Anyway.
Yeah, Doctor Strange is definitely going to be where we had Guardians of the Galaxy introduce us to the cosmic side of Marvel. This is going to introduce us to the more supernatural side of Marvel. And I think this is going to be really interesting. And I would not be surprised if they actually went after Benedict Cumberbatch because they know that the supernatural side of Marvel, for obvious reasons, is weird. And they wanted a familiar face to get people to watch it. And yeah, I mean, people are, some people that don't want Benedict Cumberbatch are, people that are another white guy in the role. But I feel like they looked at all their options and was like, Benedict Cumberbatch, we know him from Sherlock, he's great at internalizing, like you said, Dan. He's recognizable, and I think he's really going to be able to bridge that gap for a lot of the casual Marvel fans. So I'm pretty sure that's, I don't know why, but that would not be surprising if they did that.
I really don't think that the whole Mystic Planes is going to be as difficult as everybody thinks it's going to be. Because if you watch Thor Dark World, they really bridge the gap into parallel worlds going from portal to portal, and it's kind of the same thing. If they make it more of a physical plane instead of just this spiritual essence.
We also have the creatures too. The creatures are all kinds of
but
crazy.
then again, you also have the oh my god, I'm blanking on the
Chitauri.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, the Chitauri, you have the Dark Elves. You have all of these different creatures that they've shown. They've shown Rocket and Groot. I think showing different creatures is going to be a little bit easier.
Yeah, but you know what I mean though, because Doctor Strange's creatures are so out there.
Yeah.
Rocket and Groot is a tree and a raccoon. Chitauri are maybe the weirdest ones, and Dark Elves. I mean, Dark Elves. We see that a lot in movies. So I think that's going to be not going to be difficult, but that's going to be a stretch to get people to come into that. They'll be able to do it, but I think that's also why they got Benedict Cumberbatch for it.
And then next is Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which we've already postulated.
They pushed up, actually.
Yeah.
The important thing about that, it got pushed up from August to May. So they pushed it up
Probably
3
it's
months.
Doing crazy well.
3 months. Is it now officially the second highest?
It's the second highest of this year.
Yeah, of the year.
What is the highest of the year?
Transformers.
No, really?
Yeah, it's Transformers.
That's depressing.
Yep.
I didn't get to see it.
I mean, it's Transformers. Everybody loves Transformers. I mean, it's got explosions.
Everybody went for the 2 minutes of Dinobots. Let's be real.
I was only in there for 2 minutes?
They were at the very end for only a couple minutes.
So that means there's going to be another one.
I really hope not.
Well, regardless, that was the highest grossing film of the year. Was Transformers. Rise of the Fallen?
No, that's the second one.
Dark Side of the Moon?
No, that's the third one.
Age of Extinction?
That one.
Oh.
How do I know this? That's depressing. Okay. But
I mean,
I just guessed the subtitles. But Guardians of the Galaxy 2, they pushed that up 3 months, which is huge.
Yeah, because it shows how much faith they have in it.
To
start off their year of movies.
And like we said before, that's not the only one that they've pushed up. They've pushed up a lot of these. They're just announcing, it's we got a script, we can make this work. Let's do this, guys.
Do you think that if Guardians of the Galaxy 2 had done half of what it's done so far, do you think they would have pushed it up? Do you think we'd only be having 2 come out that year instead of 3? Because I feel like they pushed that up so that they could usher in Thor
Panther?
and Black Panther in that year.
I still think they would have just because it succeeded, period.
True.
Because even if it made half of what it already did, like, it paid for itself in 3 days.
Yeah.
So,
True.
I think it was just they were so shocked that it did what they didn't think it would do at all.
Well, the thing is that Thor is actually coming out in May now, and Thor 1 and 2 have both come out in November.
Well, isn't Thor in July?
Or it's Thor in July?
Thor's July.
Okay,
Yeah.
excuse me. So Thor's coming out in July, but the point is that it came out in November. The first 2 did, like relatively on the same day, if not around the same day in November. So I'm interested if they saw how well it did, and it was like, we can push that up, that'll do really well, then we'll usher into Thor Ragnarok, and then we can bring in a new franchise here for this. And so they brought in Black Panther.
And what's interesting about moving on to Thor Ragnarok is it's supposed to happen like immediately after Avengers 2.
It's supposed to happen immediately
But it's like
after
a
Age of
whole,
Ultron.
Year, 2 years? It's 2 years, isn't
After
it?
what? Oh,
After
excuse me.
Avengers 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thor...
Because it's 2017.
Yeah. So 2 years after Age of Ultron, but the storyline takes place immediately after, which is funny
It's going to be crazy.
because Idris Elba today came out and said that Heimdall and Loki both have a part in Avengers 2 Age of Ultron, which is interesting because, in case you didn't hear this, Joss Whedon and Tom Hiddleston
We're swearing up and down. They were
both
in this
said
movie.
that no, like, Loki is not in the movie. So the speculation is that they are in the movie in a sense, is that they're going to be the teaser for it, because if Ragnarok's taking place immediately after Avengers 2, then they're going to have that lead into Thor Ragnarok. So,
That'll probably be the after credits scene.
probably.
Yeah, so that being said, I feel like since Thor Ragnarok is like far after, but direct. Sorry, okay, let me rephrase this.
Yeah.
Hold on. Thor Ragnarok happens exactly after Avengers 2, storyline wise. So do you think every single one of these movies is going to be an after effect of what happens? So they're basically just going from location to location, showing the effects of what Age of Ultron has done to everyone?
I really hope so, actually.
I can see that. I would not be surprised if that's what it was.
Otherwise, putting Ragnarok there would make absolutely
Yeah, it wouldn't
no
make any
sense.
Speaking of which, Ragnarok, I'm so glad they're doing that because that's one of the best Thor
Oh, it's the
storylines.
best story of Thor.
Definitely.
So good. Well, and... Oh, I don't know if I want to say that.
Just do it.
Well, because he...
Spoilers.
becomes- yeah, big spoiler. Big spoilers. He becomes king
Yeah.
in the Ragnarok storyline. So that's a huge deal if that happens. Which means we might lose Anthony Hopkins, which would be really sad.
But I mean, they've teased that happening every single Thor
True.
movie. They're
Yeah.
like, oh no, he's just sleeping. Okay, we're good. We're good.
Oh, he's
still in
here.
his
Oh,
own
wait, he's
sleep.
Loki.
Well, also...
Yeah. Oh, okay. Never mind.
So,
That's
Never mind, we're
true.
good.
yep. Because that's the other thing is that Thor still thinks that his father
Is on the throne.
is on the throne, and
Yeah.
Loki has done something to his father. We don't know. We don't even know. Maybe he killed him. We don't know if he killed him or not. What he probably did is just imprisoned him.
Yeah, he probably just sent him to a place where he'd be tortured forever, knowing Loki. He
Yeah.
wouldn't have
Yeah.
the guts to really kill him.
No, he would want his father to suffer. Yeah. So,
Not that easy. Come on.
um,
So yeah, that's...
so Thor is going to be interesting. I would not be surprised if Civil War came because of Age of Ultron, because of Tony Stark.
Making his own weapons.
Because of Tony Stark creating Ultron, it goes poorly, and then I would not be surprised if he's in that because they call for that, and then he's like, I need to make this right, I need to do this.
So that's why he pushes to be with the government.
Maybe that's why he pushes to be with the government,
feels
so
so
that
guilty.
he feels so guilty and he can get back in the public's good eye, and Captain America's like, no. So it wouldn't be surprising if that's how it happened.
Well, they also kind of have to happen in the same... Well, at least if they're sort of following the comics, because in Civil War, Thor's not around.
Yeah.
Right.
Because Ragnarok is happening.
Yep.
So if they are happening at the same time as, like, Cap 3, Doctor Strange, Guardians, all that stuff, then that would make a lot more sense. And would explain why Thor isn't around to be like... Because I don't feel like Thor would stand for that. As much of a proud, like, aloof kind of guy he is sometimes, he'd be like, just hold them both and, like, each head in his hand, just, like, cut it out. I'm done with this.
Yep.
I don't want any of this. So
You all brothers. That's what he would do.
He would. You're all brothers in arms.
Exactly.
Get over it.
So,
There you go.
I'm interested to see how that ties into it, because I think we mentioned this last week with the Avengers trailer. We see that Cap Shield is potentially broken. We don't know if that's a flash or if that's a hallucination or if that actually happens. But Wakanda.
Black Panther.
That leads perfectly into Black Panther, which is also in 2017.
Yeah.
And if Black Panther has a huge role in Civil War, maybe he'll be on Cap's side. We don't know whose side he'll be on. If his shield is broken, he needs to get more vibranium, which Wakanda has plenty of.
Because they mine vibranium. Like, that's what Wakanda was created for.
And Kevin Feige said that the Black Panther movie is all about Wakanda having to pull out of the shadows for the first time. So that's kind of a really cool thing, because we'll get to see this whole world emerge into our own.
Yeah.
And that could just be crazy cool in all kinds of ways.
Oh, yeah.
Now we're just waiting for Latveria.
Well, we're going to be waiting a while.
I know. I said waiting. said waiting.
We'll see it.
We're waiting along with Spider-Man.
We'll see it, just not in the same universe.
Yeah.
And then interesting thing after that is Infinity War, which actually happens before Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Which is also like, first of all, when is Carol Danvers going to enter any of this? And then does something happen in Infinity War to make Carol Danvers Captain Marvel? Is that going to happen in Infinity War or in an earlier movie?
I think that whole storyline will start in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I honestly think that something's going to happen with the Kree and the Skrull in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
But see, when I talked to James Gunn, when I asked him a question, that's how it
Well.
Whoa. When I talked to my buddy James Gunn.
Me and James Gunn, we're like this.
I messaged him the other day.
That's cool, John.
No.
Okay.
No. When I asked, it wasn't even my question actually. It was somebody else asked him if Carol Danvers was going to be in it, because they love Carol Danvers.
Yeah.
Then he's like, no, because he wants to include like alien Guardians of the Galaxy, like Phyla-Vell and Mantis and all the other ones. So I would love that. I was actually really hoping he was going to say yes, but according to him, so far in his current draft of the script,
right? Because he hadn't finished it yet.
Yeah.
So he might have. They might have been like, hey, we don't care. We're in there somewhere.
Especially now knowing this slate, like you got to think ahead.
Oh yeah.
And these movies have been doing really well with thinking ahead so far, but like just to see them continue it with like the certain movies that they have.
I just know he doesn't want to go back to Earth, but maybe Carol Danvers is running SWORD or something. Maybe she'll help start SWORD at like the end of a Guardians movie, so it'll still technically be in space.
That'd be interesting.
I would hope.
That'd be a cool touch.
But I mean, like, by saying that she'd be part of the Guardians of the Galaxy too, I'm just simply stating bringing the Kree in then.
Oh yeah.
And then having the Kree aftermath kind of happen with Infinity War, and then that's like she gets her power during Infinity War, and then the next movie is about her with the power.
There's going to be so many aliens in Infinity War, we're all just going to go nuts.
What Captain Marvel version do you think this is going to go off of? Like, do you think it's going to go off of the recent Captain Marvel run, or do you think it's going to go off the...
I think it's going to be its own deal.
I'm glad you had that, just be like, hey...
It worked out so perfectly. I did not plan that, but it worked out so well.
Because Captain Marvel was started, like, Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel was started in 2012, and all the stuff had already happened to her, and it's just a very different journey. It's of her taking the dead Captain Marvel's name and moving on with that. So it was just a very, very different story. So I feel like they would just take the Miss Marvel storyline and would just...
change the name.
Yeah, change the name and change the costume.
Yeah.
So that she's Captain Marvel. I feel like just to save time and confusion, because there's really no point in introducing... Like, they might throw in, like, a name drop of Marvel somewhere. Like, maybe he is in there for, like, a hot second and he saves her life or something, or does something.
Maybe he's what gives her the powers.
True. Or, like, he dies trying to save her and then powers are transferred, and that's why she names herself Marvel.
Get a little bit of a Green Lantern action in there.
Yeah. Actually, exactly, pretty much. So maybe that's how it goes. But we'll see. But there's so many aliens.
We still have no idea who is going to be cast or who's even being looked at for Carol Danvers. We know that we're going to get a director relatively soon. We're going to get the pieces around that pretty soon.
Well, what's also cool is they said they're trying to find a female director for Captain Marvel, and they're trying to find a black director for Black Panther.
Well, it's interesting
They're
because
trying anyway.
somebody asked that. Somebody asked if, like, they're like, how important is it to have a female director and a black director for Black Panther and Captain Marvel? And he's like, it's not. We're literally just going to put the best director in the movie that we think is the best director for that movie. I'm like, okay, that's good.
Yeah, as long as it's good.
So, I don't think anyone cares. Yeah, as long as it's a good movie.
God, yeah.
So,
please don't screw up Carol Danvers, I will cry.
I mean, we got time. We got time. We'll see how it goes.
Oh, yeah.
And then, well, going back to Infinity War,
yes.
Infinity War is interesting because in case you didn't hear about this or you didn't see the footage, they actually showed, like, what was it? It was like a 10-second footage of, it was recapping some of the Infinity Stones. We got official confirmation that Loki's staff is an Infinity Stone, and then it pulls back and it's the gauntlet, and it pulls back and Thanos is there and he's holding it. So he got them somehow. We don't know how, but he got them. And so it's all going to be about that, the Infinity Gauntlet. We don't know what else, but we know that it's going to have the gauntlet in there. And that one's going to be cool because everyone's been hoping for that ever since they teased him at the end of Avengers 1.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like the first Infinity War is going to be him acquiring.
Yeah. It's just going to be him demolishing everything and acquiring all the stones while everybody scrambles to try and stop him. And then the second one's probably going to be where they're like... Because after that, because we get Captain Marvel and then we get Inhumans and then we get Infinity War Part 2. So it's going to be like everybody getting together to be like, okay, we actually have to team up and fix this instead of beating the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
So that's going to be crazy intense.
So now what I want to see happen, and this is going to be interesting because like theoretically Infinity War and then Infinity War Part 2, they're going to happen relatively soon from each other.
Yeah.
Now, do you think, because I don't think Thanos has any really desire about Earth. Like, he does, but he doesn't. He wants the
He really
universe.
only cares when, like, somebody from Earth pisses him off, or, like his Thane was on Earth, his son was on Earth, and that's why he came back.
Yeah. I think...
So, maybe Nebula
he
will
wants
hide
Earth
there
now.
or something?
Well, yeah, now he does.
Because he lost Earth.
That's true.
They literally blew up his base.
So yeah, then like after Infinity War Part 1, he'll have the gauntlet. He'll be at Earth. So what is Captain Marvel doing? Is she not at Earth, or is this going to be kind of a continuation? For the Inhumans, at least, it'll be like, we're on the moon.
Like, oh, it's kind of getting bad down there.
Should we do something?
Yep.
And then Black Bolt just like shakes his head.
Or maybe they will be in it. Maybe they will. I mean,
well, I'm hoping that they are, but like, why this timeline? Why set up the movies like this? Like, what is going to happen that makes this make sense?
I don't know, Tessa.
Because that's all I want to know is like why they made this decision. Like, and I want to know now instead of 5 years in the future.
Or maybe they might. It might be something where he gets all the stones, but they're able to like force him into the negative zone or something.
That's true.
And so they have some time off to do Captain Marvel and Inhumans, and then he breaks back in.
Especially if Doctor Strange is in the group.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, Kevin Feige has stated that they may go away from origin films. So it may very well be that Captain Marvel and Inhumans may not be origin films. It could be that they're already introduced. And they're actually, at least Captain Marvel, maybe sent on a mission. Maybe she's sent on a mission to find the Guardians or something. I don't know.
That would be great.
Maybe that's part of what she has to do. We don't know how the Inhumans are going to play and do this, but maybe there's some plan for that.
Maybe Captain Marvel is sent to the Inhumans.
That would be great too.
And like it is very episodic because like if you think, shoot, I had something good because like in Captain America 3, that is Black Panther's origin story.
Yeah.
That is where he's going to be introduced. Each character can be introduced in other films. Each character can be like fully developed in other films. The way things are going, it's beautiful.
Yes.
It's absolutely beautiful.
The only thing you don't like is that it's called Part 1 and Part 2.
I do not like that it's called Part 1 and Part 2. However, I will let it slide because Marvel's doing well, and I want to see why. I want to see why it's part 1 and part 2.
Okay.
I think it's also great if we're doing like backdoor pilots or backdoor origin stories for these characters. So by the time we get their movies, we don't need it anymore. It's hit the ground running. It's go. That's why. Like, people liked Captain America the First Avenger, but people love Winter Soldier because we already know who Cap is, we already know all that crap, we're just going.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why, because I'm sure they'll introduce Carol Danvers before Captain Marvel. Like, that's why that'll be great. And Inhumans are already being introduced, at least, they haven't said the word yet, but they're pretty much bashing us over the head with it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Pretty much.
And that's like, how many years out? Like, 4 years out? So I'm sure by the time we get there, it'll just be all full steam ahead.
I mean, we don't necessarily know if it is going to be the Inhumans. We're 90% sure because it makes sense. All of like the hidden messages in the actual Inhumans comic, because it's literally the same. Everything that Coulson draws is the same as the Inhuman title. It's there. Between that, the obelisk, the aliens, all of that, the signs are pointing towards it. Unless it actually would be hilarious if they did something different, just to like super curveball,
just to mess with us.
Yeah. It's like he shapeshifts into a Kree. He's like, surprise!
Well, what are we gonna do with the Inhumans? We don't know how they're gonna put into effect. We don't know. We need to establish who Black Bolt is. The popular rumor is that it is going to be Vin Diesel.
I really hope it is.
That'd be hilarious.
Which would be interesting, because I think you said this a few episodes ago, Dan, is that they would pay him to say 3 words and then also pay him not to talk.
Yep.
Well, he's also like, I think Vin Diesel does so much better with his physical acting than he does with his words. Like when you actually see his face talking, like it's for some reason it's just not as believable as like his regular voice acting, like for Groot or Iron Giant.
But
like,
Iron Giant.
Iron Giant. But like, just his physicality, like, cause he did all the motion capture for Groot, and that stuff was amazing. So I feel like
really good,
if he can transfer even like half of that over into an Inhumans movie, it would be totally fine.
And he has a Black Bolt look.
He does.
Like,
yeah,
he really, really does.
He can pull off that stoic, I'm going to sit in the chair and not talk to anybody, and still be terrifying, so nobody wants to mess with him.
But see, I don't know, the Inhumans is just, that'd be so difficult for them to do. I'd love to see how they would try and pull off Medusa.
Yeah.
I don't... Give me aliens, give me trees, give me raccoons.
I can't handle the crazy hair.
Having somebody with ridiculous hair like Medusa, I feel like that's more unbelievable than a talking raccoon on 2 legs.
Maybe they'll have it where she's got it all done up in some crazy alien style that stays out of her way. I don't know.
But it moves. It moves with her. You know what I mean?
I
like,
do.
It is,
well,
it
she's
is
also
bigger
in, like,
than her.
Like gravity weirdness, though.
Yeah.
Like when she's on Earth, it's not as... Like, at least it doesn't look that way in the comics. But you know who I thought of the other day who I really want to be in Medusa is Gina Torres. It's like Zoe.
Interesting.
I thought we wanted her for what's her face?
Abigail Brand.
Abigail Brand.
I want her in there somewhere.
I want her as Abigail Brand because
so great.
I always imagine Medusa with the red hair. I can't imagine Gina Torres with giant red hair.
Like that fire engine red. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe they'll make it like darker. I don't know. But I don't know. I want her in there somewhere. At this point, I'll take anything.
Well, you know what?
Abigail Brand.
We haven't talked about in this that isn't actually mentioned. Marvel announced a Hawkeye Solo film that's not located in this.
Black Widow also isn't located in there either, even though it's technically announced on IMDb. But it's also...
IMDb had to take it like a grain of salt, but like the Hawkeye one has been announced, and it's not there. So I believe I was talking to you about this, and you were saying that they may be doing the mini, or like the smaller movies, and they're going to announce those at separate times. And these are just like the huge ones.
Yeah, this is like this is the main through line of Phase 3, but they might have kind of like what they do in the comic books, where they have like events. The main Avengers comics and the events that connect everything, but then you have the side comics, like the Hawkeye comic, which is his own little, which is
that's what they're basing it off. Pizza Dog.
So
I want to see Pizza Dog.
Just kind of like a day in the life of.
Exactly. Yeah. So it might just be like, here's a side mission where Hawkeye just went off and did whatever the hell he wanted while everyone was freaking out about the Civil War.
How funny would it be if it was just a normal movie about Hawkeye having like a day-to-day like life? Just be like,
Just a day in the life.
that's what it's called, a day in the life of Hawkeye.
While strolling down the street with a cup of coffee.
Yeah, just like a normal day.
That's essentially what it is in his comic. Is like,
Oh, that's why I think it'd be hilarious.
it
as a movie.
literally opens up with him talking about like, gee, I wish I could fly right now. He's like falling out a window, like lands on a car, and he's like spends months in the hospital.
Oh my god.
But he just like walks around like Iron Man flies by above him. He's like, show off.
Yep.
And he just like keeps walking.
But yeah, that might be a movie that they slip into like February or March or anything like that, and just be like, here you go. Everyone's gonna love this and make us tons of money. But we didn't have to worry about connecting it to every other night.
Everybody's gonna
This was a low budget film. Here you guys go.
Everybody's going to see the Black Widow film whenever they announce that and
my
whenever
God.
they release it.
Well, I think they're just because she just had a baby. They'll be like,
Yeah.
let us know when you're
Yeah,
When
let
you're
us know
ready
when
to-
you want to have a movie. We'll give you a movie.
yeah.
You're
I
fine.
hope.
Wait, have time, rest up, heal up, play with your baby. We'll come back when you're ready.
So, I mean, the interesting thing about this is that this is coming out, and I actually have a picture with the entire chart for every single movie that's coming out.
Including like, is it the one with the Fox ones and oh yeah, that one. I
Yeah,
love that
hang
one.
on.
Oh,
okay.
the giant like side by side.
No, it's a list.
So-
it's like a
Oh.
timeline grid, and it's got DC, Marvel, and the Fox.
So let me just run this down real quick.
Oh god.
Skipping 2015, which we already know has Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, Fantastic Four. 2016, Deadpool, Batman vs Superman, Captain America: Civil War, X-Men: Apocalypse, Suicide Squad, Doctor Strange, Sinister Six. That's just 2016.
7 movies.
2017, Wolverine 3, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Wonder Woman, Fantastic Four 2, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Justice League, female-led Spider-Man spin-off, Venom Carnage, Lego Batman,
I forgot that movie.
The Flash, and then Avengers Infinity War Part 1.
That's 12 movies.
2018,
Oh my god.
oh no, excuse me, The Flash is in 2018.
Oh, okay.
So is Avengers, excuse me. I read that totally wrong.
10 movies.
Yeah, 2018, The Flash, Avengers, Captain Marvel, Unknown X-Men movie, Aquaman, Inhumans, Amazing Spider-Man 3. 2019 has Shazam, Avengers Infinity War 2, and Justice League 2. And then 2020 has Cyborg and Green Lantern
2.
The unknown ones, X-Force, Gambit, Sandman, Justice League Dark, an untitled Superman movie, and an untitled Batman movie.
Oh my god.
So...
Just a couple movies in your near future, guys.
Just a few.
So...
I like the year that has like double digits.
Oh my god.
That'll be exciting
That's
for
a
my
lot.
wallet.
That's a lot. That's so
I'm
much.
so scared of superhero fatigue. Like, I'm so scared of it. I hope everything's good.
Everybody wonders when
Everything's
that
good.
bubble's gonna burst, and it could
It could be the year with 10 movies, or we're just like, there's just
I mean, the thing is, though, to make this work, I feel like some of the movies need to fail.
Yeah.
And they will.
And
Some of them will.
because let's say if the Justice League movies fail, then Marvel will keep the superheroes afloat. If the X-Men movies do great, if everything does great, then it's just like this giant thing. And then as soon as one of them fails, everything's gone.
Yeah.
Because you just need to have those expectations.
It's also one of those things, too, where you have 9 billion action movies, you have 9 billion spy movies. This might just be a new existing genre.
True.
Because the movie business is always expanding and always changing, and the comic universe is so ridiculously expansive now that you could tap into this stuff literally forever. If we ever get into, like, indie comics, we'll be here till the end of time.
Oh, and they have been.
So,
there
here
was
and there.
John Cherubino, who was going to be with us today. He's going to be with us next week. He was telling me about the comic that I started reading, Lock and Key. Or not Lock and Key. Yeah, Lock and Key.
Yeah, Lock and Key. And they're going to have, like, a movie trilogy, right?
Exactly. And that's an indie movie. That's a huge indie movie.
So, like, indie book, yeah. But so it might just be we're witnessing a new genre come into play, where the superhero section will be its own section at, movie stop now.
And then when we're like parents, like down the road, our kids are gonna be like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go to the superhero movie aisle." I'm like, The wait, what? Yeah, you know, the
What?
superhero movie aisle. It's like, I remember when that was first created.
Oh god.
I remember when Blade
Oh
was
my
the first Marvel movie.
I saw Blade in theaters.
Oh.
I hope you didn't.
Trinity.
No, okay.
Oh my god.
Oh, I guess Blade wasn't the first Marvel movie.
Oh no.
We got
old.
the
Well,
first
no,
major Marvel
The first
movie.
one that was actually good.
Well, okay.
Because before then it was like
We had Cap.
the
We
really,
had
really
terrible
bad
Captain
live
America. We had
action.
Fantastic Four. We had a whole bunch.
We had Hulk and Thor. We had really, really bad ones.
I mean, the Hulk TV show wasn't bad.
No, the whole TV show wasn't
Lou
bad. But
Ferrigno.
as far as like movies,
Yeah.
like the Marvel movies up to that point were just atrocious until Blade happened.
Yeah.
So
You know what you should do is just watch Blade, and then just watch the Avengers and see how much it's changed
Oh,
in that span
well,
of
that's
time.
just a complete different. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a complete different genre. I'm gonna wait for the
No, but, like,
the Daredevil series to come out.
No.
That's
but-
not even fair. That's not even.
No, but
Then
if
I'll
you
watch
watch it,
Blade
it's
and then-
different. Like, it's got a completely different feel, but even like it's a different decade feel too. Like, you
Yeah.
can see the evolution that it's made from the first Blade, because it feels very, I don't want to say like alone, or just like it feels solo.
Solitary.
Yeah, solitary. Thank you. That's the perfect word for it. And then you watch like Cap 2 or the Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's a completely different feel.
Well, I mean, even if you take like the first solo movies for the MCU, you take Iron Man. Iron Man, you didn't feel like that was a solo.
On that note, have a great night, everyone. I'm John Dwyer.
Dan Kiefer.
Tessa Barlotta.
We're Nerds in a Box. Have a great night, everyone. Take care.